Welcome to Bold Talk series where creativity, leadership, ideas, innovation come together. My name is Epi Ludvik, and today I have a privilege to have a short one-on-one conversation with Hannah Testani, the CEO at Intelligent Audit. Hannah, great seeing you. Welcome to our Bold Talk series. How are you?
Great. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on.
Yeah, really excited. This is one field that I am not so familiar, so I'm going to try to learn as much as possible. But first, what shaped your early views on leadership and business, and how did your time at Carnegie Mellon University set the foundation for your future in logistics and technology?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was fortunate enough to go to Carnegie Mellon, and I think that what set apart Carnegie Mellon students that I found was just the amount of hard work you have to put in to be able to survive at that school, and the emphasis of continued perseverance. I grew up in New Jersey, so when I was younger and I would hang out with my friends, we'd have a social life. And I was used to that, and I expected that going into college. But right when you walk into that university, it's clear right off the gate that if you're a Carnegie Mellon student, you're expected to work hard, and that is on Friday night, Saturday night, and all over the week as well. So it definitely helped shape me because that first off, I was just around so many incredibly smart people, and I always feel great being the dumbest person in the room because it allows me to learn so much from everyone around me. But it also just shaped me from a young age to know that if I wanted anything, I had to work harder than all my peers. And it's okay to fail. It's okay to to not get it right the first time as long as you learn from it and continue to get better. So it's a great university. I recommend it as long as you're not trying to have a good time in college.
Yeah, that's one big issue. The people go to college and they forget why they're there, right?
Yeah, I when I was thinking about college, I always said I'd go to the best school I got into. And you really realize that as you get older, the people you surround yourself, you become. And I wanted to be around the smartest people I could. And it's all about connections. Life is so much about who you know, not what you know. So when you go to a college, you become those, friends with those people for a lifetime. And I'm fortunate now that I get to work with some of those peers that I studied with, and they're some of the brightest people that I work with every day.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really amazing. It's a discipline that's required to build and to build yourself, and so truly admire you in that. Many leaders enter an industry, few transform it from the inside. Uh, what drew you to stay and build within logistics and supply chain instead of shifting in other industries?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I'll be candid. I wasn't drawn to supply chain or logistics when I went to college. I went to finance. My dream was to be the CEO of Lehman Brothers, and I can remember the day that they shut down, and I thought that I need a new dream. So once I got into the industry, there was a complete transformation and evolution, and that's just continued to happen in the transportation ecosystem. Um, as a space, we are data rich, technology poor, which means that we are decades behind most of our peers in terms of other industries with that much information and being able to leverage that information to actually make big changes. So think about how much data there is. There's a lot of money spent in transportation. You can equate that to how much is spent in the credit card industry and the banking space. And those two industries are so much better advanced than we are,
Mm.
which just means that there's just so much opportunity to continue to revolutionize not just how you manage data, but how you ingest it, how you use it to leverage it to become a better shipper. And that's just something that, we've noticed from the beginning. So for me, I always like a challenge. I don't like to do the same thing twice. And I've been fortunate that in my career, I was able to find a career where I was able to kind of shape my own path and continue to see the opportunities that, some might say are challenges that exist and, say, how do we leverage it? Other people's problems are, I think, our opportunities. We want to be able to see a problem, identify it clearly, not get overwhelmed by it, and then say, how do we help? And then we've always been a technology company at our core, so it's just scalability. So it's no 2 days have been the same, and there's still so much potential in the industry, in our company, in our ecosystem to continue to do what we're doing.
Yeah, it's incredible. Now, working at the intersection of AI, data, and shipping operations, how do you keep innovating and move in such high complexity environment?
Yeah, so you can't just dream about innovating, talk about it once a year, and expect it to happen.
Mm,
Innovation needs to be just a way of life. It needs to be how you think about things day in and day out. And it's one of our core values as an organization, Intelligent Audit. And I also practice it in my personal life. I'm always looking for ways to do things better. So in terms of innovation, there's just tremendous opportunity, especially now. You know, AI is a hot topic, but it's a hot topic with tremendous opportunity. I can remember the days of blockchain where we spent a lot of time thinking about how to use it, and really were never able to make it work in a way that made sense. And now that the thesis is dead, or almost dead to my knowledge, in the transportation space. Whereas AI has so much application. So we've been leveraging artificial intelligence now at our company for about 6 years. Interestingly, the fact that you mentioned Carnegie Mellon is a good story, because I remember having a bunch of my friends over, all of who I graduated college with, at our house about 7 years ago. And, one of them was getting a PhD in computer science, the other getting a PhD in physics. And I was just listening to them talk about quantum mechanics and AI, and it didn't make sense to me. I'm in the room, like the two planes just didn't intersect. But I was able to take enough information from listening to my friends that I went to school with to realize that at Intelligent Audit, our customers' transportation data are all unique to them, but for the most part, they're pretty similar to each other. So I had friends that, again, I went to Carnegie Mellon. One of them was using AI to create insurance, car insurance. Basically, it had a hardware that would sit in your car, and it would be able to detect if a person was a safe driver. And the hard part of that is you have to be able to remove the noise of a bump in the road, having to slow down because of traffic, versus a driver who is not a safe driver. So, and then I had different former student that I was talking to, and at that same event at our house, and he was saying how he was using AI to detect fatty liver disease and MRIs before an invasive biopsy. So thinking about that, it hit us pretty quickly that we have a real opportunity at Intelligent Audit to be able to use machine learning, which was the form of AI that was prevalent at that point, and what a lot of companies still use outside of large language models like a chat GPT. So we started to play around with it about 6.5 years ago, and have had tremendous success. So that was our first product. It's been, our thesis was it would detect bad behaviors. So
mm,
a big shipper doing something that they didn't expect to do, but just a bad, like an incidental issue, nothing big. It has actually detected tremendous amounts of fraud because it's so good at taking our customers' data. It has the intelligence to group data into like patterns. And then as new data comes in, it's saying, could I predict this data? And if the answer is no, then the pattern doesn't make sense. And that's when it raises a red flag and says, something here is atypical. What is it? And a lot of it's fraud. It's new return locations being popped up, new return ship from points at scale. It's unfortunate, but it's plaguing a lot of our customers. And that's just one example. It also catches a lot of technological mishaps where systems stop to speaking to each other and API breaks. And all of a sudden you're using the wrong carrier, the wrong service, the wrong ship to location. And it's not, the carrier is not messing up. They did everything right, but someone is giving them bad data, and we're able to catch that. So the fact that we were able to prove out AI so long ago has allowed the entire Intelligent Audit team to understand the value of it. So that way, when ChatGPT became large and something that we all understand, we didn't have to prove to our team or our customers that AI is real. And that was a real upper hand for us, because now, as we weave AI through the organization, we're doing it twofold. One is we're saying, could this improve the lives of our customers or the carriers? And that many times is the case. We're using it to answer emails, to be an interactive chatbot, to load invoices. I mean, there's just so many opportunities. As well as we're saying, how do we improve our processes, our internal operations at scale, and do that more efficiently? So, AI is not a buzzword. It's something that it's going to be core to what we do. What I tell our team now is, anytime that I feel like we're not using AI and we can, I equate it to using a screwdriver when there's drills. Like, almost everyone understands, you'll get the job done with a screwdriver. It just takes a lot longer. And like
Yeah.
that second you get a drill into your hand, you're like, wow, why didn't I have a drill this whole time? So
Yeah.
that's what we're embarking on.
But so, what does it take for a leader like you to adapt this AI mindset first? Obviously, like we have a tendency to go for a screwdriver, right? By default. Um, what's the what does it take to embrace that?
Fearless. I mean, it's just do it. It
Mm,
truly, like, there are some decisions you make in life that are irreversible. Playing with new technology is not. Like, the worst case is it didn't work. So, I mean, yes, you're investing time and resources, but the opportunity cost of not doing it is so big. And, frankly, for engineers, they love playing with new products. That's their excitement. So it's a win for them. And for business people, they're dreamers. They're dreamers that they want to be able to get things and make it better. So I would, resist. Don't be scared of change. And this is a problem with all people, all humans. We don't like change. We're innately taught to resist it. But what's going to happen if it doesn't work out? Just do it.
yeah. A friend of mine used to say, used to be a CMO for a large corporate. He said, as long as no one dies, it's okay.
It's true. Like, life is about perspective. And anytime anyone asks me how I'm doing, I always say another day in paradise. And they're like, why is it so good? It's like, I'm here. Like, well, how much better can life get? I mean, like,
Exactly.
appreciate what you have. And I think that is just like the same concept of innovation. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen to me?
Yeah. Approaching life with with a gratitude is very important. And for me, like when I look at as an entrepreneur, every single challenge that came to my life, I look at as a gift, and that truly tremendously grew me inside out. Now I no longer look at the challenges as a problems. I look as the gifts to grow. And I think we all have that opportunity. We just have to change the perception, right? How we perceive it.
Yeah, you're so right. And I think that everyone in life at some point gets that perspective, but it takes a really bad life moment to get that feeling. Like, you have to experience, rock bottom, or just something that you're like, you know what? Life is good. And if you could teach people to appreciate what they have instead of always feel bad for themselves and looking for a pity party, then you remove all that noise from your head, and you instead allow yourself to be loose, to think about the future, to dream, to innovate, to do things that otherwise you're just like you're always feeling too bad for yourself to think about.
Yeah, that moment that I learned how to detach myself from what I do and things that I'm around with, and just being me and understanding myself, it truly liberated me completely. And look at now how some other peoples are so tunnel vision, right? Because they just truly they identify themselves with the titles. They identify themselves with the company that they work with. They identify themselves with the house that they have, or the car, or whatever it may be, right? But it's like, if you just learn how to do that, it was just amazing. It really helped me a lot.
You're spot on.
So, Hannah, what's one moment at the Intelligent Audit that tested your leadership style, and how that experience shape you?
Um, well, I could probably think of a few, but probably the most pivotal moment um, was in 2017, 2 days before Thanksgiving. We think about our organization. At that point, up until 2017, Intelligent Audit's been around for 27 years, but we have always had outside channels manage all of the sales for us. And we were just a technology arm that was basically a resale channel for many entities out there. We had just bought out one of our biggest because we decided we want to own our brand, own our name, and go direct so we could shake our customers' hands and introduce ourselves as Intelligent Audit to customers. 4 months after we made that massive acquisition, we took out debt. We thought it was the right thing to do. We lost the biggest customer that we had just bought out.
Wow.
And it was a trying time. I was 8.5 months pregnant with my second kid, and I was just like, what, like, how bad can life get? But it was the best thing that ever happened.
Amazing.
It We were able to just think about what we wanted to do as a business. And in times of chaos, it's again easy to have a pity party. It's also a gift, as you mentioned, to stop and reflect and say, okay, well, this is where we are today. You can't change it. Where do we want to be? I think that this is a really important point for leaders. Your job is not to live in the day to day. It's to live in the future. And it's to think about, what does that future need to be? And how do I get our team to be in that future? And we shifted our entire organization, our entire business model. I started to go out to meet customers, to sell, to listen to feedback. You have 2 years, and it's incredibly valuable just to ask people. I always like to ask our customers, how are we doing? I want to ask prospects, what can we do more? I want your business. I want to be your partner. What's stopping you from doing that? And people give you very candid responses. So, as long as you ask, you get that. And I was able to start asking that and learning from that. So, that's definitely the scariest moment, one of the scariest moments of my professional career. But I wouldn't be here if I didn't experience it and then stop at that moment and say, okay, well, what's next? And it was coming up with the future plan. And when you dream big, it's one thing to dream big, then you have to action. So it was a good lesson to know you got to dream, in big years. So you dream for the next 3 years, then you step back and you say, okay, well, what does that mean I have to do in the next year? And now let me step back the next 90 days. What can I do in the next 90 days to achieve those goals that we need to get to? And we wouldn't have had any of our success if we had kept that customer and been the business that we were at that time.
Incredibly amazing. Now, how difficult was to align people in that pivotal moment? Was it a clarity, or were you going exactly? What was the one thing that made them clear to be aligned with you?
Yeah, I mean, clarity is incredibly important, and I think that's probably the most important job as a leader is to say a story and to make sure everyone understands the critical roles that they play in getting there. So it's a very basic analogy, but what I always say is we're all on a boat. My job is to say, here is where the boat is going, from point A to point B. On that boat, we're going to have the entire executive team, each managing parts of the boat that are important for us to get there. Within each one of those management teams, there's all the people that have to actually get the work done. What that means is if we are not all rowing in the same direction, if there's friction anywhere, that's just slowing us down. So for me, my job is to say, what are the external factors on the boat that might impact us that I need to remove so that our teams can row in the same direction and get there. And then it's making sure that the management team knows the roles that their teams have to play for us all to get where we need to be. And then for each person to also understand, because, we say every single year, we usually have 3 AOP goals, annual operating, goals. Every single person in our company plays a role in us getting those goals, even if it's new logos and client retention. That means every single person in our company plays a critical role in us achieving them, and they need to understand it. So it's not like the sales team has to go do something, but it's if you are in the ops team, what does the ops team have to do for us to win there? So I think it's really important that everyone is fully bought in as well as recognized. So, when we have our quarterly State of the Unions and we're saying, here are our goals and kudos to the sales team for crushing it, we're also saying, and great job to every other team for the success that they played a role in for us winning. Because
Amazing.
again, if any of those cogs on the wheel don't work, we don't get there. And it's important that we can paint that vision, work together, have the right measurables where we're measuring success continuously, be frank when there is a problem. So if we see an issue and we say we're back in the boat, if one person sees a problem in the boat that doesn't impact their part of the boat, they still need to feel comfortable talking to the people who do and saying, you have a problem on your side of the boat and we need to fix it. And that is, a healthy debate that has to happen with no politics, but just the comfort so
Love it.
that, again, the boat is getting where it needs to get to.
Love it. What a great analogy. Thank you for sharing that. This is really amazing. And truly like that type of a clarity, be able to articulate very well the details and also the recognition that people deserve to give the right time. It's so important. You nailed it. Thank you so much. This is really amazing. I'm truly enjoying this, Hannah. We should probably put this for another a long format conversation, but this is a short format, bold talks. My last question to you is, what does the word bold mean to you?
The word bold to me is fearless. It's, not being scared and instead embracing opportunity, and taking it in as it comes in.
Love it. Be fearless, be bold, be great. Thank you for joining me in this Bold Talks series, and looking forward to have another great conversation. Until that time, take care and be bold. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you, Epi. It's great.